Greetings, my wonderful remote learners. This week's Artist of the Week is Bob Ross. You might already know a little bit about Bob Ross because he is kind of all over the world. He's pretty famous when it comes to artists. But if you don't know about Bob Ross, I'm going to tell you a little bit about him now. Our goal for this year is to be like Bob. Bob Ross was really calm and wonderful, such a lovely presence in the world. And in this uncertain, crazy time, we're going to try to be like Bob. We talked about being flexible last week. And on top of that, like Bob, we're going to try to be peaceful and we're going to try to take things as they come and make the best of everything. So, first, I want you to take a look at this video about Bob Ross called The Happy Painter. You only need to watch the first 3 minutes and 20 seconds when the narrator says, "This is Bob Ross, the Happy Painter." I just want to give you a sense of what Bob Ross was like. So, in this video, you can hear him talking and you can see him painting a little.
Hi, I'm certainly glad you could join me today. You ready to do another fantastic painting with me?
You recognize his iconic image.
Who's this? This is Bob Ross. This is the most famous painter in the history of the universe.
Signature phrases.
A happy little cloud that floats around that just has fun all day.
And soothing voice.
Anything that you want, you can build here. This is your world.
Bob Ross is one of public television's most beloved personalities.
The Bob you see on the show is the Bob that we all knew even behind the scenes.
I used to watch Bob Ross all the time, and the thing I remember was his positivity. He made you want to do that.
He wasn't only a painter, he was an entertainer in his own right. Without any flash, his paintings spoke for him, and he kind of took you by the hand and led you along the way.
I talk to only one person when I'm filming, and I'm really crazy about that person.
Some watched for his easy-to-learn painting technique.
When I watch his method, I go, it is, wow, how does he do that? It's amazing. And he makes it look incredibly easy. But the interesting thing is that when people actually try to do it, they have success.
Once you have the technique down, all you need is a dream in your heart and the desire to put it on canvas.
And some were just captivated by his calming demeanor.
And I think maybe that's part of the magic. I think his voice was part of it, his presence, his manner, his tone. I think his sincerity came across, and I think people relate to that. They still relate to that.
Every legend has an intangible, aura or something. And I just imagine whenever you're encompassed with greatness, people just want to be around it.
Bob Ross is public television's most recognizable artist.
Everybody knows Bob Ross, and especially his hair.
This is the story of a young painter with a dream to share the joy of painting with everyone.
My father, he spent most of his time when he came home from work watching public television. He would have us watch Bob Ross, where we would learn how to paint and learn how to use our imagination.
I'm sure the word magic gets used a lot, but I mean, it really is like magic. I mean, he'd mix up this, color, and I'm going to take a little bit of this yellow and stick it in this black. And you're like, what? Why yellow and black? You're like, that's so counterintuitive. And then takes like a palette knife and gets a little thing and whoosh, whoosh, and there's a tree. And it's like, how'd you do that?
People continually say, I can't draw a straight line. I don't have the talent, Bob, to do what you're doing. That's baloney. Talent is a pursued interest. In other words, anything that you're willing to practice, you can do.
This is Bob Ross, the Happy Painter.
Now, let's think about, let me move my face. What do you know about Bob Ross now? He painted landscapes or scenes from outside. He had a show called The Joy of Painting. He was in the army for years and he got tired of yelling. His way of speaking was calm, peaceful, and always positive. He loved animals and he had many pets, including a squirrel named Peapod. Now, how can we be like Bob this year? You can stay calm and positive even if things feel kind of wacky. Especially if you're at home, you might be getting frustrated with how difficult it is to do this remote learning. Try to keep a positive attitude and make the best of what you've got going on there. Try to overcome mistakes. So in school, we're going to use Bob as an example of how we can make a mistake and turn it into a happy accident. That was something Bob Ross was big about. So instead of throwing away paper, if we make one little mistake, we're going to try a few things to turn it around. We're going to erase. You can use the other side of your paper, or you can turn that mistake into something new. Make a random mark and change it into something that could be an amazing work of art. Also, practice your art. You're not going to get everything the first time just right. Bob painted each painting on his show 3 times. That's a ton of practice. So that's how he got better and better. If we practice like Bob, we'll get better too. Here's something that Bob always told us: no mistakes, just happy accidents. So we're going to think about that throughout this year. We're going to try to overcome our mistakes and use them to our advantage to make something cool. Here are some project ideas for you. Now, what we can do inspired by Bob is to give yourself a challenge to overcome. Your challenge can be something to do with your materials, it can be something to do with your technique, or it can be something to do with your idea. So here are 4 jumping off points to get you started. You could scribble and find a picture, much like our lesson from last week with the longest line, the one long line. You can try scribbling. You could even close your eyes and make some marks on your paper and then try to find a hidden picture. Or you could just start with a random mark. Sometimes I'll do this in my art where I'll just make a line, or I'll make one big shape, or I'll even splash some paint on the paper, and then I have to work with it. It's a really fun thing to give yourself that challenge and see what you'll do as an artist. You could also try making yourself work with 3 different materials in layers. Try using marker first, do a whole bunch of different things. Then use crayon on top. And last, you could even try a regular pencil or maybe some watercolor on top of that. You could create a picture using something like circles only. A lot of artists limit themselves to one kind of mark, and that can be a fun way to work with a technique that you wouldn't usually do as an artist. Here's something that's idea-based, a little more conceptual. It's a concept. You can try showing emotion with pictures. How can you convey sadness? How can you show happiness? Just using pictures, no words. So you could try out one of these project ideas. If you have a different idea, feel free to go with that. Happy art making, and don't forget to post your picture and click turned in.